twice a week commutes all the way up to the city of Philadelphia, and it is extremely difficult. So yeah, best of luck to everyone. It's been really hard.
And we got Lily Pad.
Hello, I'm Stephen Lilly. I've done game dev for 5 years professionally at Filament Games, but recently laid off as of January. I've worked professionally in Unity pretty much the whole time, but I'm doing some Unreal stuff on the side while I job search to kind of become more marketable. So that's what I've been up to.
Rodrigo.
Hi, I'm Rodrigo, and I'm an artist.
And we got Rick.
Did we skip Megasaurus?
Did we?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I turned my camera on and I went up to the front of the line. But hey guys, I'm Philip. I'm a data engineer by day, and I'm working on a Godot project, my first one.
Hi guys, I'm Rick. I'm a Unity developer, and I'm also the board chair for the Baltimore IG.
My name's Nickel, and I'm a software developer.
Hey guys, my name's Dave. I'm a YouTube partner streamer, and I'm making a game in Unity.
Hey everybody, my name's Joe. New here. I'm software engineer by day, more electrical computer engineering, but I love games, and I'm a kind of a games enthusiast and thinking about maybe doing some hobby game dev on the side here and there.
Yeah. And last but not least, we got Will.
Yeah, sorry. I am a local. I guess I'm in IT now. I don't really know what I'm doing. But yeah, I'm working on game dev and stuff as a hobby, and you know. Anyways, yeah, nice to be here.
All right, yeah, glad to see everyone. I did bring some swag that Unity loaded me down with for a couple folks who are in person. If not, it's not all claimed. By next time we get together, I'll beanie. Yeah, like picked up a cool beanie. I'll bring it next time. So the next thing we usually do is go over calendar events real quick. I'll go ahead and share my screen. And let me switch over to the calendar. Okay, and we do have a website, baltimoregames.com. After we go over the upcoming calendar events, I want to hear what everyone's experience was at like AwesomeCon and Unpub and things like that happened the past week. So this afternoon, we have MoComCon in Montgomery County and Mag Labs in Baltimore. So if you have time this afternoon, come to one of those. In April, we have our regular meetups on the first and third Saturdays of the month. Rick Williams, and I'll let you talk about this after we go through the rest of the calendar events, is going to be running a game development bootcamp. April 17th is Ludum Dare. I have not secured a physical location for this yet, but we'll do something for Ludum Dare. The next day on Saturday is the IGDA DC's Cherry Blossom Arcade. It's going to be in a library in DC. So if you have a game that you want to show, it doesn't even need to be like a finished game. Definitely check out this link and submit your game.
Can I just jump in real quick, Tony? Hi, I'm Joey. I'm one of the organizers of IGDA DC. I put a link in the Voice General channel. If you have a game that you'd like to show at that showcase, we'd like to get like 20 plus developers, I think. So this is a showcase that takes place at MLK Library in DC. So it's like right near Gallery Place. If you have any questions about that, you can just ask me in Voice General or something. But just I put the link in Voice General.
All right. The next two were are kind of being headed up by Rick. So why don't I shut up here? Well, I will mention that on June 6th is the Indie Game Fest at Enoch Pratt. So definitely plan to come to that. There'll be a lot of games to play there too. But we have several events that Rick is heading up, including his Game Dev Bootcamp and these other two here. Rick, would you like to talk about these? To come to that. And you can also click on the event here, and the link is here. All right, I'm going to close the screen share here. And does anyone else have any upcoming calendar events? Okay, well, so how was AwesomeCon? Anyone have any thoughts? Did anyone show any games there?
Yes, me and Rick, we showed a game.
I also did. Yeah, they did. Yeah. It was really fun getting to watch the kids kind of struggle and succeed through our game. I had a bunch of like just gratifying experiences seeing like other little kids get excited about the game like I used to be when I was first coming up with the idea in like literally first grade. So yeah, there was a kid who said like they wanted to put King Scribble in their sketchbook, and that was like so touching to me. So and yeah, we got a lot of really good feedback as well. That's kind of our target demo in some ways. So like making sure that the game is kid friendly was it was definitely a helpful experience, and we've done a good bit of iteration since then.
We met a developer that had not the exact game that me and Rick are working on, but pretty damn similar. So we talked to this person and we kind of traded things that we were doing. So that was interesting. We didn't saw anyone from Firefly, and I bought a really expensive sandwich. That was my experience in the one day I was there.
Yeah. So, talking about similar games, when you release, when you and the other dev both release, talk about doing a bundle together. Bundles do really well on places like Steam when they're in the same genre.
Well, the thing about it is that he actually got into the thing. We got in because of like a very last minute spot open up, but he got in like in, and he had been working it for 3 years. We've been working it for just like a little bit less than a year. So it was interesting to trade things. Like we did a lot of things that were technically more efficient, but he did a lot of the legwork in marketing. Like he had a website, he had a trailer, like he did all the marketing for the game that we had just skipped. So it was nice to exchange information there.
So what are you two going to do the trailer and all the marketing stuff?
It's in planning stages.
All right. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I'm looking forward to someone else thinking about marketing because I hate thinking about marketing.
Fair.
Yep. Do you think it would help to have like a monthly or quarterly like online game showcase? What about like a YouTube live stream? Yeah, okay. Yeah, we can see who's up for that.
Is this something you've suggested before, Tony? Or is
No,
that your head?
I mean, yeah, Rick just kind of popped the idea into my head there.
Well, we were on the thing. We were talking with I think it was Eric, who was selling his wonderful game, and I think he mentioned that a streamer really got him like the most boost to his product. So there's a lesson in marketing there that you can do all the marketing in the world, but we're still in in a marketing economy where like a streamer will go like way farther than any of the attempts that seem like good advice. There are some that are baseline that you should definitely do, but like it sounds like the streamer thing is really what puts games on the map, including Slay the Spire, which I was talking about Slay the Spire 2 with Keith and how much the sequel is a big a sale. Like Slay the Spire got its bones from a streamer that showed the game,
Mhm.
And I think also streamers can spread it to other streamers organically. And so you might see, oh, this other streamer's playing this, I should play this too. So you might reach out to one and get more than one from that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's like a whole hierarchical ecosystem where smaller streamers will often like find obscure games, and then the larger streamers will keep an eye on the smaller streamers, and if something looks cool, they'll they'll let the smaller streamers filter through the games and then pick up the ones that are popular. So maybe if we do like a quarterly live stream and get some smaller streamers looking at that live stream, it could filter its way up to bigger streamers.
I mean, another way to look at it too is that maybe, be the change you want to see. Like maybe one of us who likes to stream can stream.
Looks like we have one volunteer in chat. So yeah. All right, that's something I'll follow up on. Did anyone go to, or any other thoughts about AwesomeCon? Did anyone go to Unpub? So it's kind of video game adjacent since it's unpublished tabletop games, but yeah, a lot of tabletop games find their way into video games and vice versa. So looks like we have a couple people typing, but yeah, unless anyone has anything else they want to bring up about other events, I will mention Mike asked like how many people were at GDC this year, and pre-pandemic there were 40,000. Post-pandemic there were 30,000. This year there were 20,000. But so half of what it was before the pandemic, but at the same time, 20,000 is still a lot of people, and I feel like a good 10,000 of them were there because they'd been laid off and were looking for employment. One thing I did like about GDC was they didn't have enough people to fill out the entire north and south of the expo hall, so they only did the south side or the north side. So it was half the size, but it was just as crowded because they packed everyone into that side, and they opened up the other side with a bunch of tables and couches and little like cozy areas where people could just meet and talk. And I like that a lot. I just sat down and talked with a lot of people. Okay. I'm looking at the chat there about the Triple I initiative. Yeah, Triple I is another YouTube showcase, a big showcase. Yeah.
I hear that Unity skipped GDC this year. Is that right?
And last year, and so did Epic.
Okay.
They did both have side parties, so they were there. They just weren't on the expo hall floor. So when GDC itself is asking for like 300,000 to $1.5 million for a booth, you can spend less than half that to rent out like a club and invite whoever you want with a lot more amenities. And that's what a lot of the bigger companies did. All right, so yeah, we usually open it up now to anyone who wants to show anything that they've been working on. Does anyone want to show anything? I'll break the ice. On the flight back from San Francisco, I was seated next to the Guilty Games folks. So that's Pat and Mason, who are local devs here. And we decided, hey, let's, we got 4 hours to kill. Let's do a quick game jam. So Pat set the theme as a clicker. And I'd never made a clicker game before, But if if I'm asked in the future, I'm just getting started in game dev. What type of game should I make? I'll say, excuse me, I'll say a clicker, because they are, I mean, they're relatively easy to make, and they're like strangely addictive. So I'll go ahead and show what I worked on. And this was, mind you, we only had 4 hours, no internet. So fortunately, I had Unity installed on my little potato of a laptop. And no sound too, because I wasn't about to like try to make sound effects while I was on the play. So do you all see the itch.io screen here? Yes, no?
Yep.
I see.
Okay.
Yeah, it's right there.
Okay. So yeah, I made a little clicker game on the flight back. It was better than trying to sleep on the plane with a very elbowy guy in the middle seat. I swear the game is not that big. It's just slow internet here. I'll maximize it. The idea of this is that you click on, you need to clear these dungeons. So you click on the monsters to kill them, and then you pick up their gold. When you have enough gold, you can hire different units to help you out. So I'm going to hire a peasant who can also help me clear these levels. And so it's an incremental game. So your units carry and your gold carries across levels. And for such a, kind of a dumb little game, it's actually kind of fun to play.
That's impressive for 4 hours.
All right, next dungeon. So, yeah. They don't do any kind of pathfinding. They just go straight to the next available monster. And I didn't have
really impressive.
Thanks. I didn't have a sprite, so I did this in paint.net. 16 by 16 sprites. So, surprisingly, easy to make, but still like fun to make. So yeah, if you're looking for just like a small project, or if you're, someone who's just starting to get into game development, yeah, suggest some kind of like clicker game or an incremental game. And once you have a lot of people, you really don't have to do anything. They just go and take care of the level for you. So yeah, that's what I did on the flight back from like 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. last Saturday.
I love how good the pathfinding looks for how simple it is.
Yeah, it
looks like they're smart because of where they start. It is going to pretty close target.
Oh yeah, the algorithm for this was, it just looks up a row, and if there's nothing on that row, then it looks up the next row, and it goes from the bottom to the top. So it kind of spreads out left to right, bottom to top. Yeah, a real, simple algorithm, but with 4 hours, what are you going to do? I had thought about if I'd had time, like adding some obstacles and stuff, but then I'd need some kind of like steering behavior to get around obstacles. And
No, you don't. You could just have a HP bar on the obstacle, or like they just knock it down. Like there's a game I'm playing called The Last Spell, and I'm it's a commercial product, so I'm sure there's actually pathfinding in there. But that's basically what the monsters do. They bump into like a wood that's conveniently made of, or a wall that's made of wood, and they just keep hitting it until the wall disappears. But this is like some really the fact that you could do this offline without the internet to look up documentation and stuff is an amazing. It's really good.
Oh, thanks. Well, that's it. Yeah, you can just keep playing forever. I'll go ahead and close this.
Who won the game jam?
Oh, it was not like Global Game Jam. It was non-competitive. We were just all of us trying to get the games done in time. So, does anyone else have anything that they want to show?
I mentioned I can actually show a Valentine's gift game I made on the topic of making things very intro and very small.
Awesome. Yeah.
Let's see. Let's start by sharing my screen because it's missing a lot of quality life things. So I decided to finally make a game for my wife because she's been bothering me to try and make one for her as a gift for a very long time. So the week of Valentine's Day, I decided to make this super basic game. I figured it was a good way to kind of make a game under a very tight time constraint. So I made sure to not do anything too smart or too time consuming and just do things that make the game work. So literally the game is just picking up these fun pickups. They give you some amount of love you can see in the top right. And once you get to 100 love, it ends and then you restart. But I also just wanted to learn working in A-Sprite a little bit and importing sprite assets into Unity because it's a thing I'd done a long time ago, but I kind of needed to brush up on, so this was a good excuse to do that. Do a really simple pickup system, so all the pickups do a little bit different things. You can see when you pick up the little coffees, you get a little faster for a second. The yarn balls let you swap through these player sprites as you build a little sweater. Because my wife just loves to knit. And yeah, also on that topic of just games that are good to get into game dev, I kind of have this philosophy from doing an experimental games class way back in my grad school days where they emphasized making games that kind of look like a single screen arcade game you'd see way back in the days because that's a good way to keep scope down, just make really simple things. As you can see, I'm not doing anything smart with the pickups. They just kind of keep spawning. But I just kind of followed that mentality, like a single screen kind of arcadey feeling game. And I find that's a nice way, like I said, to just keep scope down and really focus on one mechanic and just kind of build a game around that. But yeah, it's a fun little project I did in 3 days just to kind of have a fun thing that my wife could look at.
Yeah, I like the growing heart. It just makes me feel happy to see it grow like that.
Yeah, as you can see, I'm not doing anything too intelligent with pixel art scaling, handling, and stuff. It looks pretty goofy, but it fit the theme well enough that you don't notice too much that it looks pretty bad.
You did this in Godot? Is that what you said? Or
sorry, I did this in Unity.
Unity. Okay.
I forgot to mention that. Yep. Yeah, that's all I got.
Cool. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Does anyone else have anything they want to show or discuss? Like maybe builds that you brought to AwesomeCon or yeah, anything like that. So otherwise, might be a short meeting today.
I don't have a build per se, but I have something I've been having a lot of fun with that I could show off.
Yeah, go for it.
Cool. Let me share my screen. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, so I've been working on a game that I'm calling Streamstead, which is essentially kind of like a virtual co-working game. If anyone's familiar with the game like On Together, it's kind of like that, but it's a little bit more focused on like kind of existing while you kind of work rather than consuming your whole screen, because the purpose of productivity games is to be productive. So I've been doing a lot with 3D in like Godot for the past couple years, and like I mean, if people have heard of Mixamo, I imagine you all maybe have. Their animations have been really cool, but just because I've been wanting to have a lot of fun, kind of like level up and like experiment with some things, I think I just had the image here. I just so happen, if you guys can see, I have a Valve Index, which is a VR headset with a bunch of HTC Vive trackers. And I've been experimenting with like doing my own like mocap animations, which is like a totally new thing for me. And it has just been some of like at least for me, some of like the coolest stuff that I've done, because I don't know, it's kind of neat to set a bunch of computers all over your body and record. So I've been what I'm showing you is the game, and actually, I mean, unfortunately my first real animation was probably one of the most boring ones, which is a sit animation. If I just add a bunch of players right now, you kind of can see like the animation here. But if I go into Blender, you kind of can see right now I just have like a sit. This is when I didn't have all the trackers, so kind of ignore some of the foot drifting for like the little kick. But just experimenting with like, recording animations and kind of building out like a workflow of, putting on the trackers, doing recordings, getting them into Blender, and then mapping them to the actual player models for the game. So yeah, I don't know. Just kind of wanted to kind of show that off, that it's just been like a fun little I guess one thing I'll also show is and I'll also kind of link it in here if anyone is curious. I've been using a piece of software on Steam called Mocap Fusion, which allows me which is essentially that bridge between like, it's the mocap recording software essentially, and that allows me to then spit it into Blender, which I then can like I mentioned, attach to my player model and then bring it right into the game. So hopefully I'll be able to show a little bit more like exciting animations than just a basic sit. But this has been really fun, and it was cool to, I know I could have done this in 15 minutes, just getting a sit animation from Mixamo, but it was actually kind of fun to spend like a few evenings getting this together, and then just being able to kind of think about all the other like fun ideas I could do with animations. So I don't know, just kind of wanted to show off something that like I've been doing that, at least for me, I thought was like really cool and fun.
So how much? Okay.
I'll be honest, I have no idea what the perception neuron is. Before, I mean, like playing around with, I mean, so in the picture, you also can see there's like these little blue, they're called slime trackers. Before really experimenting with just kind of like the VR trackers, obviously I'm familiar with like Rococo. It was just way out of my budget. I was gifted like half of the stuff here like a few years ago, so I was like, you know what, maybe I can make this work. But no, I've never even heard of. You said perception neuron? Yeah. I mean, one thing that's really great about Mocap Fusion that like I struggled with kind of using the slime trackers and their own documentation is it's very, very well documented. And like that's what's made, I think, this process so pleasant. Also, the software is just very well built and designed. But you could probably go in there and see like if it's compatible with it, if that's kind of what you're asking. But yeah, I'm not sure, unfortunately.
So how much cleanup do you have to do once you've recorded it?
So not much. I mean, like the beautiful thing about using these Vive trackers, I mean, obviously, so these slime trackers, I think like each one maybe was like $30-$40. The Vive trackers are a little bit pricier. And because like the trackers are actually being tracked via like base stations that are looking at it, there isn't really, I mean, if I kind of zoom in on like, you can kind of see here with like the sit animation, you can see like my elbow is not twitching. So, I mean, I would have to kind of clean that up, but the beauty of at least this game, and as I kind of like, kind of build it all out, is like, the game mostly is going to be played pretty zoomed out. So, I think in terms of time, I don't know if I'll actually will clean up this elbow. I may eventually, because for just like a learning experience, because like I don't really understand. Animation is definitely a world that I really want to level up in more. But at least right now there's been no cleanup at all. And I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm using the Vive trackers, but also that mocap fusion software is pretty nice. But I imagine in time with more movement there will be a lot more cleanup for sure.
So are your little characters going to be able to get out of their crafts there and swim?
No, so because the game's more focused on productivity, and also just because I'm trying to keep the scope as small as possible, there won't really be a lot of movement. It's more just kind of like leaning into like virtual, like coexisting, co-working, body doubling. So, so how it will kind of work, at least like on a technical side, is this is just one kind of environment that I've built, but different interactables that people can, so how it works is the streamer. Right now, it's going to be with like Twitch streamers being able to interact with their environments, or with their environments, their viewers. So a viewer, I'm not trying to in a productive space have them be able to like jump, kick, and do backflips. It's really just exist is kind of what it is. So for now, I mean, like with a boat like this, like they're really the only animations that I have set to these interactables is sit. But there may be other things, and I can show you some other environments that I've been working on. There may be other situations where like you may have more than one animation that you're going to be. Ignore the colors.
Sorry.
I'm still working on colors. But like there may be multiple animations that you use, but in terms of actually like getting up and moving, at least for this first iteration, it's more you kind of spawn in and you're just kind of doing that animation that you're doing, which you're kind of already seeing today with like study games like Spirit City or whatever. It's just the same animation, just kind of looping over and over because they're kind of meant to be. They're not really meant to like take your focus too much. So if people are running and throwing balls at each other, it makes the scope a lot larger for me because I have to deal with things like physics, which I don't have to with this, and like networking. But also I think it may be a little distracting, but I don't know.
So what I would like to see, if I could put in a wish, would be just a character sitting on a dock fishing, just sitting there with a fishing rod, maybe occasionally pulling up a fish, but just that, because like I don't fish, but I associate like just sitting there on the dock with a fishing rod as like something just totally chill and relaxing, and you kind of turn your brain off and yeah, just a passive thing.
No, I love that. And yeah, I have kind of a little bit of like a vision board that I've been using to build out the game. And like right now both environments have kind of been just like a pool, and like I kind of thought this was just kind of silly, like being able to what an interesting place to load the game on. But it's all been kind of just like like people sitting at a beach club or sitting around a boat. But I love that idea. I've actually thought about in my vision board, it's like fishing, like ice fishing. So there's a bunch of people just kind of sitting around a tiny little hole and also kind of doing that. And it's funny, you're not the first person to mention fishing. Like it's also given me inspiration to not fall into scope creep and add fishing to this game, because everyone needs fishing in their video games. But to maybe even make something kind of like this, but for just like, not for productivity, but just for fishing kind of like with friends. A bunch of those games kind of already exist, but no, there will be at least some sort of idle fishing in the game. So your wish will come true, I promise.
Cool.
Have you tried using any software that uses AI where you can upload a video of yourself moving around and then it turns it into bones and you transfer it over to Blender for character animations?
I've seen those. I'm not personally against it. I've yet to do it. Yeah, because I know that Rococo now like has like free. I think it's like if you bring your iPhone, like they're like, well, we have some free stuff for you. It's still very much like a new world for me, and I'm excited to kind of see what else like is out there. But no, I haven't seen that because I imagine that software, especially when it comes to cleanup, I imagine would be pretty nice, like to kind of just see the rotation of a bone and its neighbors, or its siblings, and be able to be like, no, like this probably shouldn't be twitching the way that it should, or the way that it is. So I definitely am going to kind of look into that if cleanup starts to become a problem, or is like maybe a little bit too overwhelming, or is just kind of slowing things down. It definitely is something that I have kind of made note of to maybe look into. By the way, this character is, I'm not just showing you a scene with a naked character. I was just showing that, like, I'm not going to connect to Twitch and show you that whole integration maybe like another time. But right now, like, just through this little like UI panel, ignore this. It needs to be completely cleaned up. I'm just like simulating adding people, but like they're all random. But how it would work for the game, because they're doing it through Twitch, is they're actually going to be, there's a little character creator that people will probably access through like a website or through itch. So if you want, you can just join through Twitch and it'll randomize a character. So these are all just randomly generated characters, or you can kind of have your own character and make them look kind of whatever way you want. And then with that, you'll generate a join code. This essentially gets translated. It's an array that gets translated into a hash. I think it's, decoded back into an array. So then the program actually knows how your character is supposed to look. And then that's saved on the streamer's machine. So they know always how you look when you join. But yeah, I won't do the Twitch stuff because that requires me to open up a bunch of browsers and whatnot.
Yeah, it looks really good though. I'm looking forward to this.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
Anyone else have anything? I did add to that incremental dungeon crawler game. I did add an idle mode. I'm going to go ahead and show that. So again, this is like super early. There's no volume control. Since I'm sharing screen, I think, and I've named it Realms Below. Since I'm sharing screen, you shouldn't hear the audio. So
Audio's coming out of this speaker, it sounds like. So they made it.
yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, and again, this is AI generated art that I'm going to replace soon, next week. I'll bring all. But the idle mode, and I need to come up with a better icon for it. You just click this, and it'll play the dungeon for you. I'm totally hands off now. We'll see if people, a friend of mine that worked on Crypt Crawler with me, which is fun, pretty adamant. You can jump in and do stuff. It's otherwise hands off if you want to do it that way. But he was pretty adamant that there should be an idle mode. So you can turn that off and roll it on your own. Everything else is pretty much the same. So I don't know what your all's thoughts are on idle mode, but yeah, that's kind of fun. I just realized I have to go hit Alt F4 to get out.
Well, you can just toggle it on and off, It's not like this whole separate mode that you just...
Yeah, I think I'm going to keep that.
Yeah,
so people
I
can
agree. I was gonna say the toggle is kind of interesting because I'm not a big idle gamer because normally like when I'm playing a game I want to be actively doing something, but the fact that it's a toggle, you can almost treat it as like its own little game where like you're more focused on building the system of your character as opposed to like the micro of doing the perfect actions here and there with your character, and that's like a different thing you can test in a different way. That's kind of interesting.
Is there any kind of logic how it navigates the dungeon, or does it just all do left turns, or how does it
It's mostly if there was a so if it can go straight, it will generally go straight. But if it can make a left turn, it'll make a left turn. If there's a wall right in front, it does a right turn.
Okay.
So very simplistic. I'll probably adjust it a little bit. I don't want it to traverse back to this. Well, I'm undecided whether it should traverse back to the stairs up to the village or not. I think if it gets to the stairs, it should turn around and just do more dungeon grinding instead. Yeah.
Sprites.
I did not. There's someone on itch.io who has a Patreon, and he just has like a gazillion sprites. So and he makes more every day. So I'm just going to use his art for that. Yeah. Anyone else have anything?
Hey guys, this is Philip here. I just had a general question, not anything to show. But in this meeting, there's a mention of layoffs and also of how GDC people were going there to look for jobs. So I was wondering if that's like normal in the video game industry, or if there's something exceptional going on. Because my idea, my general understanding is that the game industry is growing, especially with the number of indie devs and indie studios coming out. The industry as a whole is growing. So maybe that's not actually right.
Anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say I've been in the games industry for like 8 years. I've survived three layoffs, and I'm probably not going to survive this fourth one soon. If you've been in the industry long enough, you'll probably see layoffs either get affected by them or know people who do. It's fairly common, I feel like.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't used to be that way as much. I don't know if you feel that way, where especially in the last 3 years, ever since studios kind of like felt like the good financial times during the pandemic were going to go on forever. They overhired, and now they're overcorrecting in the opposite direction and just laying everyone off so that each quarter looks like they're saving more money. But that's not great out there. At GDC, no one was hiring. Well, there were some AI companies that were hiring, because that's like the only area that's like really booming right now. But if you're not into generative AI for games, it's a little bit rough out there.
You mentioned Reddit was going to have a huge presence. How did that materialize?
They had a talk about games for Reddit, and they had a booth, but the booth wasn't as big as I thought it was going to be. But certainly not the size of like the Xbox or Discord booths. They were trying to convince people to make games for Reddit, and it seems like an easy process. You pretty much just need a Reddit account and give them some information so they can pay you. But they're looking for like these really small web games. So if you're actually the Guilty Games folks, each of them, Pat and Mason, made a clicker game, and Pat said that they were going to put their little clicker game on games for Reddit, see how it does.
I was thinking about because I do, like, the engine I use uses TypeScript, so I had been thinking about kind of dipping my toes into doing Reddit games, but it seems like you have to use one of their supported engines like Phaser or Threes.js.
Yeah.
But I didn't see a way to, like, if you wanted to bring your own JavaScript engine, if they had like an API you could use to integrate with.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
It might. I mean, they might support Cocos.
Yeah, I'll look. I don't want to pick up another engine, but I would love to throw something up on Reddit and just see how it does. Yeah.
It does support Unity, but Unity's web builds are like significantly bigger.
Yeah.
So.
And do they even run on mobile?
Yeah, they can run
do?
mobile. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
need to, of course, different controls for mobile, obviously, but.
Yeah, I'm not sure that you can do Godot to Reddit, but yeah, you can look into it if you're interested.
Pokey has a really good guide of what engine works best for web games. They suggest a bunch of them, and they kind of really focus on the export size of a project, of an empty project. So that's a good reference to look at if anyone's interested in web games. I just posted on the chat.
Yeah, there was one dude at GDC who was making his own game engine in TypeScript, and it was tiny. He could zoom into a specific point on a small fantasy planet that he'd made, and then zoom all the way out, look at the whole planet, and scroll it around and zoom into different points, and then run around on the surface. And it was amazingly small.
Yeah. And it's only going to get better when TypeScript native comes out.
Yeah. But yeah, he was not using Unity or Construct or anything like that.
Did he use anything underneath of it? Like, did he do Babylon or Threes.js? Was it built on Threes.js or anything like that? Or did he write everything from scratch?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was built on something, but something that was pretty small.
Yeah.
I think it was like WebAssembly and WebGPU direct.
Okay, because I'm thinking about doing my own TypeScript engine, but it's going to be built on Raylib and WebAssembly and stuff like that. But yeah, that's not anytime soon. But I'd be interested to, if you remember who that was, if they have a web page or anything like that. I'd love to check that out.
I think I have his card, so if I find it, I'll.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of a good number of people there seem to think that a big future of games was web games.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I definitely feel the pull to go back to Unity because it would be so much easier. So many things are just extensions you can buy that just handle things for you. But I just feel like long term, I want to be building web games, and I just feel more at home doing it on TypeScript. But the pull is strong, but I'm just hoping that future that I'm seeing actually realizes, and I make the right long-term decision. We'll see.
So what is if you want to do web games commercially, what are your avenues to do it? Because when I think web games, I think pretty much just free games.
Well, I think that's largely what it is. Pokey is a place I've heard of. I've actually looked, I'm going to look into deploying there. I forgot all the other names. The Coco's website actually has a list of websites that you can put your games out on and monetize them and stuff like that. But I don't know if I'm doing it strictly for monetary reasons. I just feel like it's easy to get the game out there and get it in front of people. There's very little friction. You just give them a link and stuff like that, And if you want to build on it, you can still take that same TypeScript source code and compile it down to native if you need to. If you're using the right engine, if you really know what you're doing. So it just seems very flexible. So.
I think a few years ago there was kind of like a JRPG action kind of game called, I think, Crosscode or something like that.
Yeah.
And that was made in TypeScript, I believe.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then it's just running, basically running in a browser on for the Steam version.
Yeah. So that probably didn't launch on the Switch, did it? I think it
did.
It did.
They
Okay.
somehow
They was ported because I'm pretty sure you can't do that on Switch.
Yeah, I recall reading some
okay.
troubles that they were having.
I'm assuming they poured that in a different engine.
Yeah.
All
right.
I looked it up. It uses something called Impact.js, which is JavaScript, but I don't know if that includes TypeScript.
Okay. Cool. Old Newgrounds. So yeah, does anyone else have anything that they want to show or discuss? Otherwise, yeah, we can call it a day, a little bit early. April 4th is our next online only meetup, and check the calendar events for everything that's coming up in April. If you're in Baltimore this afternoon, go to Peabody Heights Brewery, play some games at Mag Labs. If you're in Montgomery County, drop into MoCOMCon this afternoon. Right? Yep. Going once, going twice. All right. Everyone have a good day.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thanks. Later.
See ya.
Take care.
See everybody.
Later. All right, guys, let me see how many people are watching. Okay. I'm going to take a little. This isn't. Good. Sorry, it's working. I wasn't planning on streaming, but since I forgot about the indie game dev meeting, blah, blah, blah. I got some stuff I want to do. I want to work on my game. We'll see. I might do a painting stream shortly, but hope everyone's having